Well, there's a couple at the church I seem to be going to at the minute. Well, I went the second time yesterday because of a friend of mine. There's a couple there. The girl, the female, the wife. Yeah, they're married. She catches the eye. She has artificially red hair, Scythian. She's a very attractive girl, slim but fascinating personality. She's Christian. She's married a chap I know of. He's the son of a very deadly earnest Saturday Fellowship family. He used to run the fellowship quite a few years. Very heavy, very Old Testament, Pauline. Paul is not New Testament in her. Doesn't know Jesus. He just knows there's a Messiah that in his view has come already but been crucified. Well, ascended to heaven anyway. But he met him on the road to Jericho in a blinding light of sun. Well, it seemed like that to him because in effect it was that gap between the Sabbath and the worship day of the sun, Sunday. The sun is symbolic of God, you see. It was always symbolic of God. It's not that it was God, but no doubt it was taken to be God, because that's the only record they had of God in the old days. Back to this couple. They are an 8, in fact. Imagine them holding hands, but the right hand of the one holding the right hand of the other over the left hand of the one holding the left hand of the other. They're held together in marriage. And they are a continuity. Thank God it's eternal. You see, all our relationships actually are eternal. But none of us die. Not in heaven. On earth we seem to die, and even the near-death experiences that have had a glimpse of heaven still think of it as near death. It's not, it's near life. If you would enter into life, keep the commandments. No, that's the Seventh-day Adventist view. And the Saturday Fellowship view too. They are Pauline fundamentalists. Well, if they're genuine. But the Christian is this Scythian red-headed girl. You might think artificial, Christian gloss, the Jesus story. The one sees it as a gloss on the Old Testament, but she sees him as the roots of the Jesus story. And they're held in eternal fellowship. Marriage, we call it in this world. They're quite a lovely couple, but they are not the same. But the each will blend into the other. Can't imagine what the children will be. No. They don't really know, they don't really realise yet that they are of different stages. One the creation, one the created. They are as the yin and the yang, the old and the new, the light and the dark, the ebb and new. I'm come that you might have life and have it more abundantly. It's the difference between the dead church and the charismatic fellowship. It was the difference between the Sadducees and the Pharisees, the Persian and the Roman empires, the Muslim and the infidel, the Buddhist and the Hindu, the Orthodox and the Charismatic, the Pauline and the Jesus movement. In the story it is written, I am come that you might have life and have it more abundantly. Thank you, Heavenly Dad. Oh yes, Paul was on his way to Damascus, wasn't he? Not the road to Emmaus. And you probably think of Paul as his doctrine of being free from the law. But his doctrine is freedom from the letter of Hebrew law. He's still a lawyer. In that there's still crime, sin, and judgment. And but there's a good God, equity, grace. And you can appeal to him if you repented. You see, he still has a lawyer mind about him. Doesn't know Jesus. Jesus' story is not written yet. It's not thought of yet. There's only the Messiah. Much the same as, probably is the same as the therapeutes, the Qumran, is it? Dead Sea Scroll people. That sort of ilk. But he has the legality of the temple, the Hebrew religion. Hence he's persecuting as Saul persecuting Christians. He knows what's wrong with Hebrew religion. Hence I say he's much more like Qumran, the Essenes, or the therapeutes. He doesn't know God as Heavenly Dad, dearest friend. In fact, he's more like John the Baptist. And the least in the kingdom of heaven is greater than he. Yet Marcion knows him as the best example of Gnosticism. Because he has insights into what's wrong with the literalism of the Old Testament. So he is very much as of the Gnostic Jews in Alexandria, North Africa, Philo, etc. He sees through the Judaic religion and its past Hebrew teaching. But Marcion as Jesus has where Paul was heading for. Did he write Mark? Did he just have Mark's Gospel? Possibly more probable that he wrote Mark. But someone wrote John's Gospel, and it wasn't John. Be reasonable, Marshall. John has to be written by a woman about her ideal son. I wonder if her name was Mary. And I don't mean one of the Marys in the story. Although you wouldn't be far wrong by identifying her as such. The story is a strange thing. We write ourselves into the story. And this storyteller of John is more concerned about her imagined spiritual son than herself. But she is beloved. Of her son. dominated world, and she's writing of a man greater than men, messenger of God. But a lovely man. And she's not married. But her son is the product of, it's a hard word, is the spirit of her God. Her perfect dad. A strong bond between the daughter and her dad. No wonder John's gospel is so different. Thank you, Heavenly Dad. What's it got to do with this Scythian girl married to a boy from a Saturday fellowship? Messianic Christians. No concept of the Spirit. Well, it's to say you just don't know. The children they may have. Thank you, Heavenly Dad. You see, you can be like John the Baptist and believe in repentance for the remission of sins. And you can be the one that baptizes for it. But you don't recognize Jesus. You have to have a sign to be told. Your God is not loving Heavenly Dad. He's still an Old Testament God, a demiurge. You can endlessly weed out by repentance, but if you don't plant flowers, you don't get any. It's got to come from somewhere. Love. You cannot get into the kingdom of heaven except by love. Not fear, not obedience. Not understanding, knowledge. It's not even wisdom. It's love. Where your self expands to embrace the possibility of the Creator of all, loving all, rather than the way you experience and see it in the world. This has to come from somewhere else. From being loved and valuing it. Now all are loved by God, but they don't all value it. Some of those that don't value it value a different God. God of justice, law, righteousness. God of power, yes, but not a God of love. Neither the Christian nor the Jew worships a God of love. They will strive together to know a God that they don't know, neither actually knowing the Jesus story, but the gospel as they see it. They are, in short, experiencing the consequence of their God. Thank you, Heavenly Dad.